Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, Socially Bearded. I know, no dad joke today, but the reason I'm not doing a dad joke is because this is going to be an intro for a series of videos, how-to videos. How to apply beard oil, how do I know how much beard oil to use, what is beard butter, when do I apply beard balm, how to straighten, you know, just general things like that. I don't know if that will be every video that I drop in this series, but I am going to use this intro right here for that. So what this is for some cousins of mine, some family members, and some friends that are somewhat local, maybe not close enough to drive over here and have me show them exactly how to, start maintaining and taking care of their beard. But they're local enough to where they're not really involved in the community, but they kind of see what I'm doing. It's kind of piqued their interest. They have, started growing their beards and started wanting to take care of them. So I'm going to do, whatever I can to help them as well as anybody else. And hey, you never know. A new beardsman might find one of my videos before he finds anybody else's, which unlikely, but hey, it could happen. So maybe these will help them too. Now, I do realize that these videos are not going to be most everybody that already watches my channel. It's not going to be their cup of tea. I totally get it. That's totally fine. There will be no anger if these videos only get 5 or 6 views. I really, that's about what I expect. Again, that's fine. These are meant to help a certain group of people. Some friends and family, and any new beardsman that might come along. So guys, stay tuned through the intro and we will get right into it. Alright guys, as I mentioned in the intro, this is going to be another video for the beginning beardsman. Again, it's for some personal friends and some family of mine that have been asking me quite a few questions here lately. But it's also for, anybody that might find this channel in the future that's brand new to beards and beard care. So, in the last video, we learned how to apply beard oil. Now, in this video, I believe it's important to determine how much beard oil to use. So, we're going to try to walk you through that today. Just know that it is very subjective for each person. Our skin produces, or our bodies produce, more sebum and less sebum, just depending on who you are. The longer your beard gets, the more of that sebum it drinks up, and it needs a supplement, I guess you could say. So for me personally, I use about 3/4 of 1 milliliter, which is about 3/4 of a dropper. Your standard dropper top like that right there is generally 1 milliliter in a 1 ounce bottle. Now, depending on the length of your beard, if you have a business beard, you might need 1/4 of a dropper or 8 drops. You can always count by drops and do it that way, or you can eyeball it. That's kind of what I started out doing, which I was overusing really bad. So hopefully this video will keep you from making some of the same mistakes that I made when I was new. So real quick, let's go with the dropper top. Now this is going to be pretty much the most common style of beard oil applicator that you're going to get. Now I've got that filled up now. So I chose this one because it's got lines on it. And I just wanted you guys to be able to see, right there is exactly 1 milliliter. So you don't ever want to fill that oil up into this rubber cap. After a while, the essential oils in there can actually start to break that down. So I want you guys to look at that really close and kind of try to remember that and know that that is around 1 milliliter. Now, if your beard's not very long, if you're a brand new beardsman, you're not going to need nowhere near that much. So we're going to dump about right there. So there is, sorry for the bubbles, but there is a 1/2 milliliter right there. Maybe slightly under 1/2. Now, that one's actually really easy. If you can find halfway on that pipe, on the pipette, if you can find halfway on that and then dump that into your hand and see the size of the circle in your hand and about how deep it is, that will really help you with other styles of applicators, the dropper top, the Euro dropper. But I'm going to tell you a couple of tricks here to maybe where maybe you don't have to eyeball it or guess. So let's move on to just your standard orifice reducer, non-dropper top, I guess you could call it. Okay, so you got this. This is just a standard. That's not a Euro dropper. It's just a orifice reducer style dropper top. Now, you see this syringe? This is a 1 milliliter syringe. Now, there are 2 syringes that have this size. Let me hold my finger up to that so you can kind of see how big around that is. So there's a 1 milliliter and a 5 milliliter syringe that both have that exact same size tip on them. Now you want to grab one of them. It goes right down in there and it fits perfect. I mean, it's an absolute perfect shot. I actually think that is why they use that with a lot of medicine, liquid medicine bottles, you know, in children's and stuff, because it fits so perfect. So now, and I'm not saying you got to do this forever, but this will help you learn how much to put out into your hand. So you're going to go plumb down. Let me find the line there. All right, so that's 1 milliliter right there. All right, so again, you know, if you got a really short beard, you're not going to need that much. So you're going to want to go to a half maybe, or to a quarter, or to 0.2, you know, just wherever you want. Now, after you get what you think is about the right amount in that syringe, I want you to dump it into your hand, and I want you to look at it real good, just kind of examine it, you know, and do it multiple days. Don't just do it once. Just examine it really good, and you know, you'll start to get a sense of how many shakes that you need when your amount is right. Now, I'm going to tell you a little trick here. Now, this isn't always true because the drops that come out of a bottle are always a little bit different. 30 drops is about as close to 1 milliliter as you can get. So 15 drops is going to be a half a milliliter. 7 to 7.5, you really can't get a half drop out of there. So let's just say 7 drops is a quarter of a milliliter, pretty much. Really, the exact measurement would be 7.5, but again, you can't get that out of there. So your Euro droppers, there's a trick with these. So that dropper is actually, it's got a little stem that kind of goes down in there. Now, to get this oil out, all you do is hold it still, and pretty soon it'll start to drip. And I actually tested that 30 drops was still about 1 milliliter, and it is. So really, no matter what dropper you're using, you can get a pretty close measurement as to what you're using. But again, you just have to determine how much you need first. So on to that part. Now, so what you're going to do is you're going to start out, my advice, if you have a shorter beard, start out with a quarter of a milliliter. Put that out, warm it up real good, just like I showed you. Go through the beard, or go through the skin. When you're done with the skin, finish it off on the hair. You know, if it soaks in 3 to 4 minutes and it still feels dry, you didn't use enough. Now, say you have a short business beard and you go with a full milliliter, and 6 hours later you can still feel that oil on there. Well, you have used entirely too much. The bulk of the oil should soak in and not leave you feeling greasy, not leave you feeling oily, but it should also not leave you feeling dry. So you have to find that sweet spot. So I always recommend that everybody add a quarter of a milliliter at a time until they reach their desired amount, or the right amount for them. So remember, just start out with a quarter. If your beard's something along the same length as mine, go ahead and start out with a half to 3/4 of a dropper. I don't use nowhere near what most people with beards my length use. They generally use a dropper to a dropper and a half. I use about half that much. So, but again, I just don't generally need it. Again, everybody's beard is going to be different. Everybody's amount's going to be different. So really, it's up to you to determine how much you're going to need. So, guys, I hope this helped. I will not drone on anymore. If you have any questions, again, as always, you can reach out to me anytime. I appreciate everybody for joining, and we will catch you on the next one. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. If you're you're new here and you want to support the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and remember to follow me across all social medias.